are all so special in terms of just the human beings that we are. We really are. We have gifts, we have talents, and I think society tries to box us because society wants to give you a label. They want to understand, like, well, who are you? What do you represent? What do I need to call you for? Or what should I hook up for you? Why would I want to connect with you? And it kind of like labels us. And what we all need to be trying to really do is fully express ourselves with the gifts that we've been given. And many of us need to answer that purpose that's been calling for us. Like some of us are avoiding picking up the phone and we just need to answer. It's pretty obvious what it is. Many of you know, but you've been hesitant or fearful, or you're concerned or worried, and you have all these other negative narratives that kind of hold you back from taking that step. And the point is, you can only know what's best for you, but I know this much. All of us are more than anyone else anticipates we are.
All right, you guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of the BLK Lyte Digital Podcast, where we take you behind the grind and help you shine in these digital streets. I'm your host, Jennifer Benson, and I have my boy, DK, the digital theologian, in the building. What's up, DK?
What's good? Let's go.
Yeah.
You got my guy here. We're not going to waste no time. We're going to get right to it. Let's go.
Hey.
What's up, Mario? So, listen, to kick off this new situation I got going on, y'all know I had to do it big. So I'm geeked to have two-time Emmy Award winner and host of the Never Settle show, Mario Armstrong, on the mic tonight. How you doing, Mario?
Yes, so good to be here, Jennifer and DK. What's up? Rocking it on BLK Lyte Digital. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this moment. You DM'd me about it. We made this thing happen. I'm super pumped to be here.
Awesomeness. So we're going to jump right into it tonight. We are talking about It's the Tribe for Me, all about community building and why it needs to be part of your social media and your online strategy. So I'm going to kick off with this first question here. Mario,
okay.
Should building a tribe be a priority in our business and ministry strategies, and then why?
Oh, great question. I mean, the quick answer is absolutely it should be, because when you have a tribe and when you're building a community, you're not building buyers. So there's two different ways to think about how you can start to expand on your business or your congregation. These are customers. These are clients. So you have two ideas. You could either get into a transactional relationship. We offer you a service, you come into that service, or we offer you a product, you buy that product. That is a transactional relationship, usually a one-off. Yeah, you can sell them more, you can upgrade them into more products, sure. But you could also, the other idea is to build a community. Well, what does that mean? That means instead of just creating a transaction, you're creating a relationship. That means beyond the product or beyond the service, you're also giving them something that they don't have to pay for, whether that's a community where they can find other like-minded people to connect with, or whether you're the plug for that and you're giving other information. Maybe you're bringing experts into the group that benefit that community. The reason why you want to build a community is because when you have a movement or when you have a momentum of energy that's all grouped together, you all rise higher faster. So we all know the African proverb, you can go fast alone or you can go farther together. And it holds true, but oftentimes when we're in business, we don't really think about it that way, of creating a community for that sense. And the other quick little caveat is the minute you make a community, you don't have to sell. And I think that one, like, I should say that one more time. The minute you have a community, you no longer need to sell, because if you've been giving value and if you've been teaching and if you've been helping, they will ask what they can buy from you. Or they won't even ask, they will just start to purchase. Or when you say, hey, it's time for that event or that retreat or that special thing that the congregation is doing, they're going to show up.
Yeah, Mario, to that same point, the Bible clearly talks about one could put 1,000 to flight, but two could put 10,000. And what that is talking about is talking about the power of community. One person can do great things, right? Good things, but two people can do greater things. And the Bible clearly talks about greater work shall you do. So in community, if we intend or anticipate on doing greater works, as you talked about, I think the best part is not being transactional and being relational. We love to just let's just be transactional. I do for you, you do for me. That don't always work in business, in the marketplace, or in church. But if we are relational, then by the bond of the relationship, we're able to move forward and go faster together.
You know what's crazy about that whole thing too? It requires patience up front, but
Absolutely.
things get quicker, faster later. But the patience has to be up front. And I think that's where a lot of people maybe led astray or miss that particular part of the memo, that you have to kind of, you gotta water that seed. But when you do, it will take off. You just have to trust that process.
That's so
No
true.
question.
That's so true. Speaking of transactional versus relational, so how do we build more on the relational side and not transactional? Because like you said, actually both of you said, it's kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and you give to me and I'll make you these promises. But how do we actually forge community, especially in the digital space?
That's a great question. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can connect to people and network. But when we're talking about building a community, that's going beyond just networking. I think there's a roadblock that a lot of people get hit with. It was a roadblock for me until I kind of figured out, like, wait a minute, how is this? This shouldn't be this way. Let's unlock this. And that was that when you have something that's of interest to you, your personal agenda, everybody has one. So that's the first thing. Like, recognize that we all have personal agendas. Personal agenda does not mean bad motive. Personal agenda could mean more impact for more people. Personal agenda could mean to deliver better fundraising for your nonprofit. Personal agenda could mean that you want to have more financial freedom to be able to do things with your family, that you want to give back to the community. Personal agendas, there's nothing wrong. The intent of the personal agenda is what makes it bad or good. But a personal agenda is what we all have, but we tend to label that as something that's negative. Therefore, we don't talk about the thing that we would like to achieve to try to get others to help us with. So what I say is, make your personal agenda a public agenda. And if you do that, what I'm saying basically is pull off the covers and just be transparent and say, here's what I'm trying to achieve. Here's what I'm going after and why, and watch how many other people will start to understand your mission and your clarity and will get on board. And the energy that's supposed to get on board will. The energy that's not supposed to get on board won't, because you're very clear in what you're trying to achieve. So I think as humans, we need to be more forthcoming about what it is we would like to try to accomplish. And then we need to be asking other people what it is they would like to accomplish, so that it's reciprocated. Not that it's always going to be a 1-for-1, or, I do something for you, you do something for me. It's more about I continually give. And if I'm clear when I'm giving what I'm trying to accomplish, other people will also give to me along my way.
Come on, Mario.
It's funny you said that, Mario, because in the effort to do life together, there are agendas. There are things that you want to do and I want to do. Now, doing life suggests that we can go about this path singularly or in duality. It is up to us how we want to proceed with life. And such as when it comes to the marketplace or in ministry, you have to determine, do I want to do life with you? And I love your juxtaposition, right? You say, hey, I have an agenda, but I'm transparent about it. And you ain't like the transparency of the agenda, but the agenda is the agenda at hand. And I think if more people were more transparent, doing life would not be a hard thing to do, and doing business would not be a hard thing to do. It would make things a lot more cleaner and clearer and concise.
That's absolutely true.
1000% agree.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Because a lot of times, we don't feel comfortable letting people know our personal agenda. We feel like it's selfish.
There it is.
But to Mario's point, when you make it a public agenda, when you talk about how you want to help other people, like, who doesn't want to be famous? Well, there are some people that don't want to be famous. They're introverts and they don't want to be bothered. But there's a lot of people that want to be famous. So why not be famous for helping other people? Kind of like, what Mario is doing. Mario got Mario got like 1 million followers online, y'all. No joke. So, but he got famous from helping other people. So take a note.
Yes. Yeah. And it all really, like both of you are saying, it really is about what it is you want to accomplish. Knowing that why is what drives you. So when you're talking about your personal agenda, here's the thing. It does feel selfish because it still comes from your ego. It's still coming from you. And it feels like it's sleazy. Like I shouldn't share that. I should just kind of be a little limited with that and only share that to a few people. Here's the difference. Does your public agenda only, does your personal agenda only serve you?
Mm.
If it does, then it is egotistical. And you
Yeah.
might need to have a different conversation with yourself about how to make sure that your personal agenda is a public agenda. So yes, do I want to reach more people? Would that mean that I would in effect become popular? Whatever, that's fine. But what is my why? I want to reach more people with a message to help them never settle. Why do I want to do that? Because I went through bankruptcy. I went through pain. I've been in business with my wife. I know what it's like to have my mother-in-law pay for our groceries. I know what it's like to dig into the sofas looking for loose change to put that in the Coinstar machine at the grocery store and thinking that I took my family down a journey that was horrible because I told them we can make this business thing work and they believed in me. And now I feel like I'm not coming up with that end of the deal, of the bargain. And it's to the point now where I feel as a man and my pride and everything is getting damaged and getting hit left and right. And everything around me is telling me there's no way this is going to happen. And so what I'm trying to say to you is no matter what your lowest low is, or no matter what your pain has been, what is your reason for being? What is your why? If you know what that why is and it's bigger than you, that's your personal agenda that you now need to make a public agenda.
So Mario, to that point, my friend, you brought up to knowing your why. There's a French term coined raison d'etre. Raison
Mm,
d'etre. This French term basically says, my purpose. I know what I'm here to do and exist. I paraphrase when I say that. And so
okay.
knowing the raison d'etre and having partners with that said raison d'etre allows one to move from private to public
Mm,
easier and faster. And so when we have that, as you mentioned before, with this public agenda that is purposeful agenda, then we have
yes.
that can easily move ahead so that we can go faster and stronger together.
So, Mario, you were telling us a little bit about your story and how you went through some different struggles as you're coming along in your journey and whatnot. But let us know how you took your audience from one version of Mario to the next, because I know DK has a little bit of history with you. He's been following you since the Periscope days. And I'm going to let DK get into his part of it, but we definitely want to know how you transitioned your audience with you, how you kind of evolved them to accept you for where you are now.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's because I was so open to being transparent with where I actually was in the process. And I think since so many people hide the process because we've been taught fake it till you make it. So in other words, let's look good for the gram and everybody else will think we got it going on. Meanwhile, you're scratching two pennies together. But since society's got these pressures on you and we are addicted to validation and acceptance from others, we tend to not be as forthcoming. And I just think that the biggest flaw in our society as we watch people or study people or research people or get inspired by people is to see the process more than the prize. So I really wanted to document as much of the process more so than the outcomes of that process. So that if we did, because we don't know what their process is going to be. I mean, we don't know what the outcomes are going to be. So, but if we're shooting to create something that we think is going to have an impact, and then we're trying to go after a few things along the way, the hope is that we become successful in pursuing those things. And if that's the case, then you've also seen when we were down and out and what that took to get there. And I think just showing that process and showing the value of the process over the prize and being transparent, like it made my family super uncomfortable. Not my immediate family, wife, kid, everybody was good, but my father, my uncle, my aunt, some of them were just like, can you tone down a little bit and not everybody thinks you made it already. You're like cluing people in, you're crying on camera, you're showing people what the pain is. You look like you're suffering out there and you need to be looking like and projecting that you've already made it because that's what people think you've done. And so I think it was this generational difference, but it was also just this thing of, no, I don't think you understand. People need this real stuff, real raw story and not the sugar coated stuff that everybody else seems to be doing.
True.
I think it's funny you said that the raw story. So when I think of the story that connects me to Mario and his brand, I go back to the clicking the hearts on Periscope and listening to him DJ at 12 o'clock at night. Um, when the Never Settle Club really got cracking, he
Yeah.
was saying 10,000 times while he was DJing, and he was DJing the best music out there. And this was before even Periscope got hot. And then I look over at another platform. Mario is over emceeing and hosting a show. And I look over at another platform. I'm like, this guy got the grind that I need. Yes. And so for me being a end user, right, an output, if you will, I'm able to see, I was able to see the climb
Mm.
of the trajectory and the climb, should I say, and being a part of that brand piece as just a silent end user and watching things matriculate, watching the brands grow. Before Mario had the blue glasses, he had a different set of glasses. Before he got that brand, like that's the stuff that I remember, right? Like DJing with candles and stuff like that, and lights all over. That's the
Yep.
stuff that I remember when you go back to, Mario, and now seeing him not necessarily do away with that part of his life, but seeing him embrace the fullness of who he is. And so that makes the difference. So what I tell people now is it's okay for me to be divergent, meaning I can do two things at one time: chew gum, look at you, talk to you. And Mario has shown us very clearly that in a marketplace, he's able to do two things at one time, if not three or four things at one time, whether it be monetizing a brand or even building up people. And that is to be commended. I salute you. And I just pray you continue to do more. You've inspired me to do what I need to do on my side. I've been doing that. I do some of Mario's trolling and things of that nature in other places that I will not mention. But I appreciate that, and that's kind of like the short of the story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate hearing that, DK, because Jennifer, we are all so special in terms of just the human beings that we are. We really are. We have gifts, we have talents, and I think society tries to box us because society wants to give you a label. They want to understand, like, well, who are you? What do you represent? What do I need to call you for? Or what should I hook up for you? Why would I want to connect with you? And it kind of like labels us. And what we all need to be trying to really do is fully express ourselves with the gifts that we've been given. And many of us need to answer that purpose that's been calling for us. Like some of us are avoiding picking up the phone, and we just need to answer. It's pretty obvious what it is. Many of you know, but you've been hesitant or fearful, or you're concerned or worried, and you have all these other negative narratives that kind of hold you back from taking that step. And the point is, you can only know what's best for you, but I know this much: all of you are more, all of us are more than anyone else anticipates we are, because we all can do multiple things, and we all have the intelligence and the creativity and the motivation if we choose to unlock it, and if we choose to find people that are supportive around us for that. And so I think, it's interesting to kind of hear that I went from this DJ thing to doing a show, and to really focusing in on entrepreneurship and technology. And before Periscope, I was the guy that was on TV teaching people how to utilize technology to enhance their lives. So that may have been an era that you didn't even get to see me do. I was on CNN, HLN. I was with TJ Holmes. I was on Dr. Oz. I was on Katie Couric's show.
Yes.
I was on the Today Show as a paid regular. Like, I was on a lot of channels. I had to make, by contract, I had to make 282 appearances per year by contract.
Wow.
So there's 365 days in a year. So almost every day I was on one of four different networks, being paid to talk about this. And that was like seven years or so ago. And so that was right before people got introduced to me on Periscope. In fact, I remember talking about Periscope on the Today Show. So Periscope in the evening, though, was me DJing. and my music, and I was DJ Inspire. Why? Because I want to inspire people. So I was using music as the vehicle. Well, what am I doing now? I'm trying to inspire people to build their legacy, to build their wealth, to launch their passions, to build their businesses, to grow their community. That's all still falls under the same bracket or the same brand, but it's different avenues, and it's using different skill sets, and it's also using different gifts and talents that I have. Some I have to work on harder than others, but it all kind of is baked around this one bigger, clearer message of I don't want people to settle on themselves.
Yeah.
I don't want people to grow complacent. I don't want people to look up later in life and say, I wish I did. I really wish I did. I had a chance and I didn't do it. I want to try to meet those people where they are and try to give them the small steps so that they can live the most out of their life as possible.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of legacy, so Mario, I have a question for you. In fact, it's a two-part question here. Number one, how does it feel to hear someone say they followed you for your career just about? And, what does it mean to you to have that kind of, we talk about street cred, I got street cred, all this stuff,
Right.
but what does it mean to you to have this kind of digital cred?
I mean, honestly, it's really everything. Without sounding like you need to rely on it in order for you to do you, it really is everything because of the goal and of what I'm trying to achieve. And that is, I'm trying to impact other people's lives, and I'm trying to pull back as much of the process so that you can learn and get as much of the blueprint as possible. So when we fail, you learn from that. When we win, you've learned from that. When we're in between and frustrated, you learn from how we maybe process and kind of climb out of a situation. And so I just think that hearing that just warms the heart, because the minute I'm no longer excited about someone else feeling like something I did was useful for them, the minute I'm not excited, like that's when I'm jaded and I need to do something else, or that's when that's when that particular part of the journey, I need to shut that chapter and open up a new chapter. And I'm nowhere near that. And quite frankly, I don't think I'm ever going to be immune to that feeling, because it's just that humanness, humanity. I mean, even in the culture and the times that we're living in right now, being there for another human being and letting that other human being know that you're there for them, or that you've learned something that has impacted you in some way, that's the ultimate give back. Like, if there's one action item I would want people to do, is get on that phone and call a friend, or call a parent, or call a caregiver, or call the pastor, text somebody and let them know, thank you. Here's what I actually learned. Here's one of the things I just wanted to let you know. Here's something I learned from you. I may have never told you this before, but here's something I actually learned from you. And I'm so thankful that I did. You will have no idea what that will do for somebody else's life.
That is so
Yeah, Mario, I would add on to that. That when we're talking about what we're talking about in terms of brand building, things of that nature, authenticity reaches the places that you cannot.
yes.
Ooh, yes.
Come on,
Um,
DK.
so so what Mario is talking about is not necessarily that he was the best DJ or he was the best brand ambassador for Xena. No, what Mario is talking about is that his authenticity reached all the way to Dallas while I was sleeping in my bed. My wife was over there asleep, over there cracking up laughing, right? Or watching,
Right.
watching this guy do what he does, because back in the day I used to do something similar. And so how can I then merge these two worlds together, and then walk beside without necessarily co-opting Mario's space, but taking full ownership of my own? And so that authenticity, that realness is what was transferred through Periscope, through all the other brands that I've watched from afar.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And it really is something that shows, because Mario is, listen, let me just switch over to social media, because he's done Periscope, he's done TV, he's done DJing, but let me switch over to Clubhouse. This is where I found
Mm.
Mario, and he was literally like on everybody's lips. Oh my God, Mario Armstrong! I'm like, who is this Mario Armstrong guy? And I went, I went into one of his rooms, and I was like, okay, I see why everybody's talking about Mario Armstrong because he is that dude. So, real quick, Mario, as our
Hmm.
last piece of this segment here, I want you to drop some Clubhouse tips on the people because Android's coming on
Oh,
May or
yes.
June, so they're going to be looking for tips. Now, I know you talked about the bio. In fact, you became the bio specialist on
Yeah,
Clubhouse.
it's true.
You were not official if Mario did not touch your bio, okay?
It's true. It's true.
so so what's some quick tips that people can use for their bios on Clubhouse?
This is crazy timing because I'm actually in. If any of you go to the store and pick up the Entrepreneur magazine for the month of May, I believe it is, even though it's out now. I don't know. It's got Bethany Frankel on the cover, but look for it. It's got Clubhouse on the cover, and it talks about Clubhouse. And they interviewed me and I think a few other people that they interviewed in there. And so there's a lot of information. So pick up an Entrepreneur magazine and go read it and see your boy in there, but you'll get a bunch of tips in there as well. Um, you know, uh, I think the biggest thing for me with Clubhouse, especially since there are going to be a lot of people that are now going to have access to it, and you have to think of Clubhouse for those that do not know or have not experienced it. It is like listening to a live podcast. It's almost like if you could visualize for a second going to a conference and there's a panel or there's a guest speaker or there's a fireside chat or there's a discussion taking place and you're in the audience. But at any time, you could ask to come up to the stage or you could ask to ask a question and someone could pull you up and then you can actually talk. But it's an audio only app. It's no video or anything. So you can be in your pajamas. You don't have to worry about having your hair done, which is all great because people are Zoom fatigued and video fatigued. So, but it's an audio only platform, but it has been bringing so many people to the platform because you get a chance to discuss all types of topics. And so now you're getting access to people that you normally wouldn't have access to. Number one, because they're home more. Number two, because it is audio, people are more willing to give and be more forthcoming when it's audio because it feels less invasive than a video camera or looking at myself on video. So people offer up a lot more than sometimes they may even tend to, but you get gems and jewels all the time. And so I think to prepare yourself for it, number one, you got to have your bio written and typed up. So this is the only app that if you have that you can have a bio in it so that even while you're in the audience and you're not speaking on stage, someone could tap on your avatar, your image, your profile, because we can see all the people that are in the room. I could tap on that and I could read up about you. And that alone could introduce me to you to then say, oh, I want to not only follow you here on Clubhouse, but I'm also going to click on your Twitter link that you have in here, or I'm going to click on your Instagram link so I can go follow you on Instagram as well. Oh, I'm reading about your text messaging program. Oh, I want to get a heads up when you have something new that you're going to drop. Oh, you're into this thing that I'm into as well. I'm definitely following you. So I just think that the bio, to me, is the most underutilized but the powerful tool. And to an earlier point when we talked about how we can be multiple people or we have multiple skills, I have 3 different bios in my notes on my phone. And so my advanced tip is I will change my bio depending on the room that I'm coming into. So if it's a room and we're talking about entrepreneurship and building businesses and profit and all that stuff, then I will have my bio changed. I will copy and paste it for my more entrepreneurial bio. If I'm in a room about media and how to do media and content generation and build your brand or how to go after Emmys or any of that type of stuff, then I put that bio in there. So it's dynamic. And I just think that that's an overlooked power tool so that people can see when they're clicking on you and they're in a room like, oh, this is exactly why I should connect with this person, because your bio is content and it's relevant information inside a Clubhouse. So that's what number one hack. And the other thing is get on there as soon as you can and start to just listen and be an active listener. And then when you do get a chance to speak, really bring it. Like bring whatever information, whatever tip, whatever advice, whatever support, whatever gratitude, bring it and then keep it short and simple and people will remember you for that.
That is awesome.
I got some tips for Clubhouse.
Go ahead, DK.
Not be as nice as my brother Mario, but I want to make sure I convey this. I think to his ending, and I will begin, read the room. If you're new, go into the room, pay attention to who's on the stage, read the room. They may say something that you may like, click on their bio, learn of them, follow them. Don't be a stalker, but follow them to where they go because you may be able to get more information, etc., and get close to that
Yep.
text message and kind of move from there. Secondly, don't be afraid to host your own rooms. You equally have something of value to offer.
Mhm.
You should say that and let people come. I don't care if one person don't show up. Say what you need to say and let people hear that. Lastly, because this is about digital footprint and intellectual property, and I think it needs to be said, the more spaces that you own and that you have ownership over, the more things you can control and the more things you can push out to people so they can be connected and provided for. I maintain about 8 spaces that I'm probably the co-administrator over. So guess what? I can speak to you 8 different ways and I control all of them per se. And so that gives me a certain level of ability to be divergent and go into different ways and have different conversations. And so you want to make sure you're doing that and have a dope picture too.
Hmm.
Don't put
Part.
no junk and jive up there because ain't nobody gonna follow you and they gonna think that you're a troll.
Right.
Put some stuff up there where it works for you. It speaks to the brand that you're trying to build. And to Mario's point, I also think Clubhouse is probably better served as a podcasting type platform, but also as a great networking strategy. And if you use it for that reason alone, you're going to benefit. But if you're trying to go in there and shoot your shot, this ain't the place.
That is real. And I'm going to add my last piece in there. Clubhouse is great for community building. If you want to reach more people, if you want to connect with people without being on camera, you're not ready for YouTube yet, Clubhouse is the place to be. It is free. You can get on it at any time because people are up 24 hours a day. Sometimes on their 40 hours a week. I read a report. There are people literally on there 40 hours a week, y'all. So you can catch people at any time of the day, all throughout the week. And you can add it to your strategy to help you build community for your brand. So also at the end of the day, like DK said, shoot your shot, but don't give the whole story. Leave something for
Right.
people to find out about you. And be who you post to be. If you're supposed to be this person, be that person. Be authentic
Right.
because it matters. Trust me, it definitely matters. So, Mario, thank you for your time, man. We appreciate you so much coming through, sharing your knowledge, dropping gems everywhere. You have blessed this inaugural podcast episode. I'm like super excited. Like, my friends are going to be jealous. They're like, wait a minute, you got
Man, are you kidding? This is, I love it. I love that you're setting the tone, that you're trying to set this energy, that you're doing your thing, that you've decided to venture out and build this. I mean, let's look at the production value even. You got a 3-camera situation, what we call the 3-box, you got the graphics, you got the right tools that you're using. I know you're using Ecamm. Like, you're putting in the investment because you believe in the vision. And I love to help creators that are trying to build community when they believe in themselves and they're putting something behind what it is they believe in. And so kudos to you, kudos to DK for always bringing that real messaging and for hitting home. The combo is beautiful, how it works too. I love how y'all tag team together. So
Yes.
I'm excited to be on here. And I really do want to come back because I feel like we have so many other avenues and other things that we could go into. But that's all right. Like you said, we don't have to shoot the whole shot right now. We can come back with something else for them.
Definitely would love to have you back, Mario. And listen, tell the people where they can find you at online.
Everywhere at Mario Armstrong, but I would say the 2 places that I actually interact the most, and we can DM and all that, Instagram, number 1. And then the other one I would say is our YouTube series. I would say Clubhouse is kind of a close second, but our YouTube series, because I really want more people to come over to our YouTube show. It's a brand new season this season. We're really excited about it. The episodes are only 15 minutes. We get right to like the heart of the issue. And the show is really all about helping creators of color and entrepreneurs of color and others that want to benefit from the topic. So we'll do things like, how can you actually leverage IG Reels to build your following or build your community or get more people involved in your congregation or in your message or to buy your products? Like, how can you actually use something on Instagram called IG Reels to do that? And we will find an expert, bring them in. We just had an expert talking about a Black collective of Black entrepreneurs who raised over $49 million for their businesses in this collective group during the pandemic. We spoke to the owner, Lamar Tyler, about his mastermind group, why they were so successful, and how can those lessons be applied to other viewers. And so we're really peeling back and really highlighting and shining some people that you do know, like Damon John and others that are friends, but then other people that you don't know that are either on the come up or have been doing the hard work, but just haven't been getting the publicity that they deserve. And so I think we're really trying to help culture understand the opportunities that are there for them. So I would say YouTube, Never Settle Network. YouTube, Never Settle Network. Become a subscriber. And then, at the end of the day, everything can be found on my website, neversettle.tv. So if you're always looking for either the show or the new courses that we have coming out, we even have free worksheets and tools. So if any of you are not aligned yet, or you don't know your purpose, go to neversettle.tv/tools. We have a ton of worksheets right there for you that you can fill out and start to help give you more clarity and direction.
Yes. And to Mario's credit, hold on, let me stop the presses real quick. So speaking of the Never Settle Network, I was on the broadcast where he did the Instagram Reels. And you guys, I got a little tutorial from, I think it was Idris. That's what her name was.
Yeah, that's her last name. Yep. F9.
Okay.
F9 Idris. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So I got a tutorial from F9 because I snuck into her DMs, got to go to the DMs real quick. I was like, yo, how do you put the words on the screen for the reels and everything like that? So she sent me a quick video. Man, my first reel, I got 400 views. After this broadcast with Mario and Afnan, 1,800 views on my last reel, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. That's a 400% increase. That is crazy. I didn't even know that. That's beautiful impact. I'm so glad to hear that the show helped you in that way. That's great.
Yes. So you guys, it is so worth it to go and subscribe, get in there, and make sure you go to the watch party when it's live, because he's in the watch party and so is his guest. You guys can get there. And that's where I got to her. In the chat, in the watch party. So
nice.
I need a tutorial. She's like, DM me. Boom.
Yep, there it is.
Now we 1,800 views. In fact, it's almost 1,900 views, y'all.
Jeez, that's great.
So it works. Definitely tune into Mario. He's got results. You've heard from DK. You've heard from me. This man is the truth. Make sure you follow him. You won't regret it. And of course, we're gonna have him back. Because we got to dig into some deeper stuff here. But you guys, this has been our time. Thank you for joining us on this inaugural episode of the Black Light Digital Podcast. And listen, 2 things. Follow us on YouTube and subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Get your family and friends. Get them on this. They're going to love it. They're going to enjoy it. We got a lot of more guests coming through.
Yep.
And
it's important, y'all. Make sure that y'all really, I know that y'all may hear this from content creators often, but really subscribe. It's a small fee for you to pay, which is no cost, but it really matters to the content creator. It really matters to Jennifer, really matters to DK, really matters to Mario when we actually see that people are subscribing, because that means you really are here for it. That means you really do want it. And put some comments. If you learned something from this episode, put some comments in there. DM me on Instagram. I will hit you back at Mario Armstrong. Like, let's get some publicity and some buzz going for Black Light Digital.
Yes. And getting our people together. That's the whole purpose. Like Mario's purpose, shining the light, not just on creators of color, but also people that are coming up and they want to get into those spaces. We don't always have the knowledge. So you have Mario providing information. Me and DK are coming with information to help our people grow in the tech and digital space. And I'm just excited about everything. So thank you so much, Mario. I'm so grateful for
DK, Jennifer, it's been a pleasure. Everybody that's the Black Light Digital family, thank you. And I'll see y'all soon.
All righty, y'all. Peace.
Never settle. Peace.